Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It is still in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for inquiring about the price of this or any of our watches. Email me for pricing. I'm still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. Today we discuss a 2009 to 2010 inter-model year 99-piece limited edition in rose gold and grade 5 titanium. This is the FP Journe Octa Perpetuelle Anniversary Tokyo for the 5th anniversary of FP Journe's first factory store, the Tokyo Boutique, and it is part of the titanium and rose gold ruthenium dial Tokyo Boutique Anniversary Series. So the watch here is a 40mm perpetual calendar in titanium and rose gold that's based on the Octa Calendrier. But whereas that is an annual calendar, this is a true perpetual and the first perpetual calendar wristwatch made by Francois-Paul Journe. So the 99-piece limited edition, 40mm in diameter, 10.5mm thick, 47.7mm from lug tip to lug tip with a 20mm spacing between the lugs. Taking a quick look on the wrist, my wrist is 16 centimeters circumference. You get a good look at the watch and a sense of its size. The lugs downturn relatively dramatically. The top angle that you're looking at here always exaggerates the width of the watch because of the angle itself, and then also because I pull the strap tight without actually buckling it. So this watch would fit just fine on a wrist of 14 centimeters circumference or larger. In profile, you can see it's not terribly thick, and with a domed bezel, it will slide underneath the dress cuff. It's a dress watch, a sporty dress watch, but a dress watch. Now the strap here is an FP Journe factory strap in black. We have small round scale alligator on the bottom, and then large rectangular scale alligator leather on the top. Gator on both sides, a few $100s more expensive, but longer lasting, befitting a watch of this status and stature. You can see pull tab spring bars are used, so you can quickly pop the strap off the case without tools. And in order to allow the lugs to be drilled close to the case, to take the pivot centers of the strap inboard to the end of the lugs and improve fit, we have curved spring bars used here, so there's no impediment to the motion of this close hold strap thanks to that curved bar. You can also see that the edges of the strap are folded. We have a monotone stitch in black. These watches variously include full clasps and pin buckles in rose gold. I've seen both versions. Here we have a Journe pin buckle. You can see this is from the Eleanor era of case manufacturers. We have the French Eleanor maker's mark and then the French double eagle hallmark in there, which is a fascinating detail, considering the case itself appears to have been made by Journe's own case factory, Boîtier de Genève. And so we have two different eras of Journe case and bracelet manufacture on a single machine, the past and the present. Grade 5 titanium is lighter than steel and hypoallergenic like grade 2. Unlike grade 2, it's also harder and more scratch resistant than steel, and it can take a polish, which is key here. We have Journe's signature unsigned double dimple knurled crown, and then we have a mechanism that includes a sliding lock and then a pusher adjuster that allows you to index the month display, which is the key to the perpetual system. More on that in a moment. You can see that the mid case is defined by the overlapping flange of the case back and the bezel. Everything's of high polish. The lugs are fully integrated. And then on the dial side, what you're looking at is a ruthenium coated solid gold dial. So this dial is made of gold. The subdials for hours, minutes, seconds, and then the retrograde date, those are actually made of brass and then silvered. And then we have a couple of details that are unique to these, including the sort of gilt rose gold printing. And then if you look carefully, you can see that the inner bezel, or the time bezel, features a number of refinements you won't see on standard Journe watches. For example, let me show you what I mean by this. Here is a Octa Divine. See how the screws fixing the bezel to the dial are steel, and how the bezel itself is all polished on both its bevels and its tops? Well, here you can see quite clearly, and this is a treatment unique to this series, the bezel has been satinated and then its edges have been polished and beveled, and then the screws fixing all the hardware, including the dial, the retrograde scale, and the bezel, the inner bezel, these are all rose gold screws and matte finished. So now how does this work? Okay, very simple. We have the date, which is a retrograde, we have the day, we have the month, and then Only when February is displayed, we have this little window within a window. Now, this is the bisextile, or quantième bisextile. Bisextile is leap, so this is the leap year indicator, meaning we are in the 4th February of the cycle. You need a leap year indicator to constitute a perpetual calendar. I guess vintage perpetuals didn't have this, but in the modern era, not having a leap year indicator is basically unheard of. So this little B appears every 4th February, so it can deal with both irregular length months and leap years without needing to be reset. Now, Journe wanted to be able to set all the functions of the watch using only the crown and controls that are integral to the case. So you can see through the crown, I can quick set the retrograde date. I can also quick set the day. And you'll note that as I adjust the date, the day adjusts as well. So you want to set the date first, and then the opposite direction, you want to set the day. So let's talk about how this month indicator works. First, you have to move the slide, and then you index it, and you can see that the month moves just like that. And when we go full circle and we come back to February, it'll be the 1st February in the cycle. There you go. The leap year cycle starts anew. So what else do you need to know about this? Well, Journe didn't want people to need a tool to index the calendar. He thought that if you give people a tool and you tell them they must use the tool, they're going to lose the tool, and then they're going to try to set it with a pen. Most pens use hardened steel or tungsten carbide ballpoints, which can badly damage a pusher adjuster and badly scratch a case. He also didn't want people accidentally setting it, so that's why we have this little slide that unlocks the pusher. You actually can't adjust this without moving the slide. So that's part and parcel to the system. The calendrier is discontinued. This watch was a limited edition. It is a very scarce machine. Flipping everything over, you can see Octa Caliber 1300, which debuted in brass form back in 2001. Now, this is the Caliber 1300 3, which means it is a unidirectional winder, not the old bidirectional. It is made of rose gold, not brass. It has a power reserve of 160 hours, though Journe says 120 is the effective or chronometric power reserve, so recommends not allowing it to run past 120 hours without either wearing it or winding it. The rotor is cut with a guilloche grand dorche or barleycorn pattern, and then you can see that parts of it have been black polished. And then we have 18 karat bridges and plates. This is 22 karat. 18 karat bridges and plates. The movement is made of solid gold. We've got a 3 hertz beat rate. We have a large high inertia balance beating away at 3 hertz. It is adjusted in 5 positions like a chronometer. It's also considered the high horology standard. You can see that the balance is free sprung, both for durability against shock and then precision of adjustment. The anchor and the escape wheel are mirror polished, as are all of the screw heads, and also the locating pins that are used to place the bridges on the base plate. Those are mirror polished on their top. The bevel, which you can see, I'll do my best to get the bevel here. The bevel is mostly mechanical in its execution, so it's straight rather than rounded, and if you get very close, you can see the bite marks from the milling tool used. Though it is neat and uniform all the way around, we have engine turning or perlage in several different sizes on the base plate, and you can see circular Côte de Genève across the bridges radiating out from the center. People ask me, why is the rotor not the same size as the movement? Well, that is because the Octa was designed to drive complications from the beginning, and something about creating an interface on the dial side for complications displaced the winding system off-center on the case back. As a result, it's a little bit, you can see, canted to the 3 o'clock side, and there's a large gap when you roll the rotor over to the 9 o'clock side. And then all this is water resistant down to 30 meters, so dress watch water resistance. You can see Journe's signature Holt head screws right there to prevent idiots and amateurs from opening up the case. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.